DLSU Radio Green Giant FM. Welcome to episode 6 of the What's Up Bro podcast, season 2, might I add. My name is DJ Cora.
And I'm DJ Miggy.
And together we are here with two of our beloved Salle Brother guests, as it is a collaboration shared with the Salle Brothers of the Philippines. So what would this podcast be without them? May we call on them to introduce themselves?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, DJ Cora, for that introduction. Hi to Cora and Miggy. I am Brother Mark Salvan, FSC, a Salle brother, a Filipino Salle brother, but I am currently assigned in Singapore, teaching religious education to grades 7, 8, and 9.
Hello, Cora and Miggy. I'm Brother Ray Mejias. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon now here in Rome. I'm from Rome. So I'm Brother Ray again. I'm the secretary of the formation of the Institute. So I'm so excited about this.
Yes, and we are too. And so just as you said, let's get the ball rolling here because our listeners have actually sent in their questions. And with that, they are curious to know, were you religious on the offset ever since you were young before becoming brothers? Or do you think that being religious and determining your faith is more so a journey?
Mark?
Okay, sure. So, this is actually an interesting conversation because for our listeners, Brother Ray was the one who recruited me to join the Salle Brothers. And very surprising, not really surprising, but the question is fitting because as a young man during that time, I really wasn't a religious person. I was a Protestant before, and then both my parents were not practicing the religion, and the household that I lived in, we're not really holy. We don't pray, we don't go to mass.
Yeah.
So, walang hint na, itong batang to, magbabrother to, banal to. Walang ganun. But then, I studied in a LaSalle school ever since I was in prep. And as a Catholic institution, did any one of you attend a LaSalle school when you were young?
No.
Not until college, but...
Oh, okay. So when we were young, especially when we were in grade 3, we're required to attend masses every Sunday. So as a student, because we have Christian living and you don't want to fail my subject, and Christian living, you don't want to fail Christian living because nakakahiya naman yun. CL ka, bagsak ka. So I have to attend mass. And always, they would require us to write a homily or to write a reflection on the gospel. And me, syempre, being the non-Catholic person that I am, laging mali-mali reflection yung nagagawa ko. Either yung responsorial sa amin nagagawa ko na reflection or yung first reading or second reading. And always, my teacher would comment, maybe he would just give me a passing grade because I exerted effort, but then it's the wrong gospel story. And then until eventually, as I grew older, that's when I become more interested with the religion. I get curious, how come pag misa, nagko-communion sila, and then my classmates would tell me, those who are either Iglesia ni Cristo, Protestant, or coming from different religion, they would tell me, "Uy, Mark, you're not supposed to get." Kasi ako, nakikipila rin ako. Nakikipila rin ako.
Yeah.
Tapos pinipigilan nila ako, "Mark, hindi ka naman Katoliko." And then, eventually, because I was not practicing Protestant, the faith that my parents had, my teachers were encouraging me, "Mark, magko-confirmation sila sa grade 7. You might want to join them also." But then, maybe things did not fall into place during that time. So I never had confirmation. So I graduated in the Isabel, not as a Catholic, but then lagi kapag First Friday Mass, nakikisimba ako. And then if they need volunteers, nakiki-first reading ako, responsorial psalm. And then kapag kailangan ng choir, nakikikanta-kanta rin ako doon. Tapos naalala ko, Anima Christi yung favorite song ko kapag
Wow.
Ganyan. Until in college, I met Brother Ray already. And then, that's when he started inviting me, "Oy, Mark, you might want to become a Salle brother." And then me, being the shunga-shunga, sabi ko, "Oy, I think that's interesting." Interesting invitation. I think I wanted... When Brother Ray was younger, well, he was really short already. Hindi naman siya tumangkad na. He was short by then. Hindi na siya tumangkad. Ganyan na siya. But when he he was more Bibo. And then I said, that's interesting because in my mind, even though I went to a LaSalle school, I never interacted with the De La Salle brother. And every time we'd see them, they're either FSC or a combination of those FSC. Either they're fat, they're stout, or they're chubby. So most of the brothers are all of that. So when I met Brother Ray, I said, he's neither any of those. I think it's cool to be a De La Salle brother. And he was dancing, he was energetic. So I said, I thought this guy's interesting. So after that invitation, that was in Mindanao, and then I was based in Manila. And in my mind, brothers, parang, you're not, kasi I grew up, hindi kami nagta-travel masyado. So parang in my mind, kapag nasa Cavite ka lang forever. Imposible na iba't ibang lugar pupuntahan mo. So si Brother Ray, nasa Mindanao siya noon. So when he invited me to join the brothers, I said, it's impossible for me to see him again. So I said, okay to him so that he won't bug me anymore in that event. But then, come college, he was there. And that's when the curiosity with the life began. But one of the requirements was that I need to be Catholic. So that's when my faith continued, my faith journey continued. And then since I grew up in a Catholic school, I was catechized already. I know the 7 sacraments and then the practices behind it. So the conversion was easy, and that led me to my journey to become a De La Salle brother. So in my case, I think I was not a religious at the onset of my life. I did not see myself as a De La Salle brother, nor was I prayerful, but it was something that as I grew up, my faith matured, and I was with the help of other people who helped me journey to get to know God better.
But the first time I saw Mark, I knew already that he would become a brother.
Of course.
Because I saw some halo. A halo. And I'm very good at recognizing who would become brothers. Okay? I mean, if there are a lot of young men there, I could feel it. There's that sense of connection, and I know that something is going to happen here.
Wow.
And that kind of connectivity or connection happened when I saw Mark, and okay, this is going to be a work, because it's going to be a work to be religious. It's going to be a work. Okay, so yun, and I think you've heard his story. In my case naman, I was not religious. I was very active in radical movements, going to the mountains and fighting against the government, and I didn't know what I was doing actually. So when I was young, I was not religious, and my family was not also, but my mom had a close friend, and I considered her to be my how do you call that, foster grandmother, or her name was Lola Santa, and she was a catechist, and she would bring me to her church services, and that led me to another group in the church, and providentially the name of the group was Sowers Field Community, and you know the story of the parable of the sowers, and I think that's where I got my vocation. I think that's where I realized that I'm called to become a religious, but I didn't know that it would be a brother, because there were many options then, and there's no LaSalle school in the city where I grew up. So I was more inclined to go to the other school. You know the other school? I think you know the other school. So I went there. I graduated and finished my bachelor's degree, and the first time I did after graduation was to really identify myself with a religious calling. So I entered the other congregation as one of their, we call it pre-novice. And I was there for, pre-novice. So I was there for 6 months. But then I realized that something's going on in my life, and I couldn't figure out what is this. So I went out again, and then I met my friends from the radical side of the world, and they were inviting me again to, you revive back your idea, your principles of making this country a better one, a good one, and so andun na naman. So yung pagiging radical, but that ended up with the group of people who were in the church when I was brought by my grandmother, the Sowersfield community, and I owe to them my vocation or my being a religious, because they really introduced me to a community that is inspired by God. And call it providential, the name of the organization, again, the Sowersfield community, seems to be part of the story, because I was initiated to this story of a God who is, spreading the seeds. And that seed is the seed of vocation, where God was planting in the world, but it's up to the soil who's accepting the seed. And I guess I have chosen the right soil, and I have chosen to be a fertile soil, so that this vocation will grow. And being a religious becomes a choice, actually. I have chosen to become a religious, and I think God has provided me a good soil. So
yes, and we're very grateful for your yes, for both of your yes,
Indeed.
actually, because you're here with us. And what a beautiful testimony also to how faith really is about everyone's own timeline with God. It is a relationship that is real, and everyone has that own pace when it comes to blossoming in that friendship with Christ. So thank you so much for that.
for me, there are no secrets. Like any relationship, if you want to grow deeper with the person you love, you must be faithful. Miggy, be faithful, Miggy. Okay, always be faithful. Okay, when you want to deepen your relationship with God, the same thing. You need to move beyond simply knowing God or simply knowing her, Miggy. No?